Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Nuance. I am in the Pudong International Airport in the international section, about to fly out to the United States. I just finished a trip of a couple of weeks here in China. At this period of time, when I'm recording this, it's nuts. And I gotta imagine by the time I post this, it's gonna be even more nuts. Nuts in the way that people are referring to China in Chinese and just completely misunderstanding and misconstruing who these people are, what it's like here, and it's coming from the highest voices in the United States. I'm talking about the president, his vice president, his cabinet, and in this video we're going to talk about something that his son, Donald Trump Jr., said on X, of all places, or Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. I don't like calling it X. So he said, in response to a tweet that was sent out by a guy named James Thorne, does everyone understand that China has a massive trade surplus and its supply is inelastic? Keep it simple. China's hand is not as strong as many on Wall Street and mainstream media are suggesting. Now, that's something you could argue. The original post, I think that Chinese economy is quite elastic. They have their industries spread out throughout America, but they also have their industries spread out in South America, Southeast Asia, Africa, Europe. They have massive technology sectors, massive transportation and infrastructure sectors. I mean, they are humming, baby, humming. And I think that although this trade war thing is going to affect China negatively, I don't think it's something that's going to damage them to the extent that the West is intending it to. It's not the hammer to crush them that they think it's going to be. But anyways, Donald Trump Jr. tweeted back to that, try buying an American product in China. Virtually non-existent because they made it impossible. You know, it's crazy because it would be a lot easier to get away with this if this was like 4 or 5 years ago. Traveling to China back then would be a bit of a hassle. I've traveled all over the world. I've been many, many different places, and one of them that was more difficult than others was China. But I had been doing business here for a long time, so I knew the ins and outs, and I had some contacts here that could send me invitation letters. And back in the day, if you wanted a visa to go to China, you typically need an invitation letter from a factory saying, hey, we'd like Matt to come by and check out our factory and visit some of these products. And so that would be the way that you could get into China. Or teaching. There's a lot of English teachers that were able to get in. But today, a ton of people can just go right into China. Their visa programs are really, really open. And so you can go to China and see it for yourself. That's what makes this tweet, retweet, whatever, by excretion. David Pakman calls them excretions, and I kind of like that term. But you know, that's why I think that having an excretion like that at this point is really, well, it says a few things. First of all, it says that Donald Trump Jr. knows his base. He knows when he tweets what people will think, what people will say, and the intent of the tweet will be maximized. So when he sends out a tweet that's so stupid on its face, he knows that his people reading it are going to eat it up because those people have a preconceived notion of China and wouldn't travel to China in the first place. So you can pretty much tell those people anything you want about China and they will take it verbatim, and it will just feed into the hatred they already have for China and the angry antagonism that they're feeling from China, which we can talk about that in a future episode. So according to Donald Trump Jr., you can't find American products in China. They just don't exist. And behind me is Starbucks. You can find Starbucks on almost every street corner in tier 1, 2, and even tier 3 cities and rural towns. You can find Starbucks everywhere. I was at a village around a lake called Dongqian Lake the other day, and there was a modern Starbucks that was in the village proper. Like, I'm talking like a Chinese village. But that's just one example. You can see the Starbucks behind me. That's sort of why I'm recording this here. I'm sort of in the gate area, the gate check area, and so I don't have access to the mall section of the airport. Otherwise, I would show you the KFC, the McDonald's, The second Starbucks that's on the outside of this section here, beyond the security check, there would probably be an Apple store or a Apple authorized dealer that you could buy Apple merchandise. You would probably see an ad for GM or Ford. Outside here, you'd see a plethora of Teslas, which, you know, argue what you want, but Tesla is a very popular car still here in China. Poor Elon Musk, sure tied his cart to a horse that is going to tank a lot of his fanatical base. I was probably one of them back in the day, but not so much anymore. You will find a Coca-Cola in every vending machine, a Pepsi option as well. 7-Up and Sprite are also very popular. You will find in Shanghai, I went to a Five Guys. Five Guys you would think of as extremely like down-home American-style business burger joint. I feel like somebody's saying you can't necessarily find water in a swimming pool at the same time he's doing a cannonball into it. Because Donald Trump Jr. has actually been to China. He actually holds a bunch of patents and probably produces stuff at Chinese factories, which it just makes everything so damn ironic. Stupid ironic, but ironic nonetheless. American businesses are everywhere. They're all throughout the malls. They're all throughout service industries. They're products that people buy here. And so you've got to look at the statement that he made. Why did he say it? Obviously, he's saying it to make it sound like the borders of China are an impenetrable one-way valve. Water can go out and to feed, industries all outside, but nothing can get back in. And that's sort of racist. It's obviously veiled racist, and it's designed in order to make you otherize Chinese people, misunderstand them. And like I've said multiple times, when you start to misunderstand China by calling them uneducated or peasants or somebody who doesn't understand the outside world, and you don't understand how the world works because you're in some sort of repressive regime where you can't see or do things freely, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because what you're doing is you're making your the person on the other side of the geopolitical aisle, the person that you're competing with, you're making them sound stupid. And if you make them sound stupid, everybody else is going to say they're stupid, so why are they such a problem for us? Why can't we deal with them the way that you think we should? Why are they fighting against us for this trade issue? That doesn't sound like somebody that's dumb or stupid or uneducated. And then they start having to, bring up stupid things like Trump playing fourth dimensional chess when he's just capitulating to the market pressures because he made a really stupid decision that was too broad and too heavy-handed. I mean, basically what I'm saying is Chinese people in general probably interact with American-made items or American brands more often than you can realize. They have an Intel processor in their computer, they have an Apple iPhone in their hands, and they have an American Express card in their wallet. They go out and they watch Hollywood movies. Maybe a little bit less now because of Hollywood's restriction now because of all of this craziness, but people here know American movies. They understand American culture. They have an insight into American culture just like anybody outside of America does, maybe even more. It's just lazy. That's probably what frustrates me almost the most in this current political climate, is that things are being thrown around, especially from the west to the east, that's just so damn lazy. And it's one thing if it's coming out of the mouth of some lowly representative or even the populace, but it's a whole nother thing when it's coming out of the voices of the people whom direct the philosophy of the country. Unfortunately, like it or not, the fact is that the President of the United States is our leader if we're Americans, and the word that he says should most align with the most amount of Americans. And when he says things, or his cabinet says things, or his children say things, when people hear those things, they think that that's America's voice. It's not my voice. It's not a lot of Americans' voices. But if it's said over and over, it starts to become more and more true, because ignorant people, and I'm not saying that as a negative, people that don't know about China will hear this message from the top and say, well, if he's saying it, it must be true. And if his kids are saying it, it must be true. It develops an idea in people's heads, and that idea becomes weaponized. And the idea that Chinese are peasants, are stupid, are untraveled, are uncivilized, are not eclectic, are not savvy. You're doing yourself a disservice by doing that as an American, and the Chinese are sort of benefiting from it in some ways because people inside China are a lot smarter, and if you don't give them enough appreciation, they're going to walk all over you, and you're going to deserve it. And then also, number two is it's going to create and foment hatred towards Chinese. The moment you start to otherize people and make them feel like they're not smart, or they're manipulating you or taking advantage of you, and why is this person lower than me taking advantage of me? Ooh boy, nothing good can come from that. I've got a flight to board, so I'm going to head over there and work on my computer and upload this video. I'm not sure when you're going to see it, but if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with what I'm saying? I'm always open to honest criticism, and although I know that there's probably not the plethora of products here in China that people in America might want, or the people in America might see, there is a lot of American-made goods and American, even philosophies that are spread around China. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be in America when you're in China. You're going to see a lot of Chinese products, services, and products and services from all over the world. I'm here in Shanghai Pudong Airport, and I can pass by Longines, French brands, Italian brands, European brands, German brands, American brands mixed in, South American brands. I mean, what do you guys think? That China is just, it's really crazy. Anyways, hopefully I've added a little nuance to this topic, and maybe the next time you read a tweet that maybe vindicates your anger towards China, just take a step back, look at it from a couple of different angles, and listen to some people who have actually traveled here and been on the ground and don't have a vested interest in making you angry and hate China.